And now we look ahead to a player feature, and it's one of your seniors, but a moment about your seniors. They really gave great effort the final home game. You're disappointed they couldn't get a victory, but you're really proud of those guys, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really proud of all of them. They really have done a great job of being leaders. And they've done a great job, again, on and off the football field of what needs to be accomplished here as student athletes here at the University of Kansas, and it's great for me to be a part of it.
Let's get acquainted with one of those seniors, A.J. Steward.
A.J. Steward, tight end, University of Kansas. I loved all sports when I was young, but football was I always stood out because I was always bigger than everybody, tall. They was like, who's this tall kid? I was always taller than everybody. And I actually always had to play a year above my age because like in St. Louis, we had weight limits. I weighed too much to play for my own age. I was just too big. So I always had to play. I was like the youngest guy on every team my whole life until I got to high school. The coaches came to me and, felt that I should move to the tight end spot because we didn't have a lot of depth at that position. So I moved to the, tight end spot last year and started a couple games. I got injured in the second game of the season, but, it was a good transition. Like I learned a lot of things last year and, just learn how to be tough and, learn different blocking schemes and understand the offensive line and everything like that. Passion is the biggest part of football. If you aren't passionate, you don't have passion for the game, then you have no reason to be out there. Just me, out of respect for the game of football, I want to be a football coach after my career is over with. I've expressed that to the coaches, and that's just what I've always wanted to do. Just be a part of a team and be either a head coach or a position coach, whatever I can. If you love this game the way that I love it, you'll be happy just to get out there and just do whatever you can to help your team. Passion is just being selfless and, just being determined to be successful in, whatever role you may have. I've learned a lot from this new coaching staff. I'm an aspiring coach myself, and, just the way they teach things and the way they approach the game of football is the exact, way I want to lead my team when I coach and everything. They're really upbeat about everything, really positive about everything, and they always think optimistically about every situation. No matter if we win or lose, it's the same approach, just passionate. Coach is very passionate about the game, and I think that, rubs off on the players a lot. It may not even show in our record all the time, but as far as developing young men, Coach has done an outstanding job. If you're looking for a diverse environment, just a positive environment where you can meet the needs of anything you want to do educationally, socially, athletically. This is a great university, and it takes a lot of pride in itself, and it's a beautiful place, and we have a lot of support from fans, and Jayhawk Nation is one of the biggest in America. I've met a lot of great people, and, met a lot of great coaches, and just had a lot of great experiences throughout my college career. I've had the opportunity to be here for 5 years. A lot of guys don't get that opportunity, for whatever reasons. But I've definitely become a better person and just become the man I am from playing college football here for 5 years at Kansas.
All right, that's the Jayhawks' A.J. Steward. I think one of the ways you coaches really impact the game and your players is when players become coaches. That means he's going to graduate, he's going to be a coach, he's going to impact football.
Well, no doubt. It's just great for us to be influences in their lives as far as people. And then those who want to get into coaching, we love all that to get them into coaching. Some of those have that talent to do that, and we'll help them with it.
All right.